Yeah, Philip, so you must have um, killed them at the start before you got to the ambush. That's the only way you would have been able to get the moon lantern, is if they were already dead before you got to the Harper ambush. Because like my playthrough, I wanted to follow it through where they were ambushed, so I joined up with them, and when that happens, the Harpers take the moon lantern from you, so you can't pick it up from the Drider's corpse at that point. Yeah, right. Yeah, I actually did that. I went in and summoned him with the dice check like you would normally do. You don't have to do it that way, because that, like you said, the DC on that is 16. So if you're not a bard with a high performance, that can be a little tough to execute. If you exit that conversation and you move a little bit farther down the pathway, there'll be a quest marker on the road. And when you get to that quest marker, if you pull out the spider lyre and just play it, it will summon the Drider instead. I went through the conversation and did the dice check there where he asks you if you have the lyre. And even if you don't have the lyre, you can say, I have an instrument, and you can play it and try and pass the check. Oh, and hey, welcome back, Philip. And hey, Smurf, welcome back again. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think it offers interesting views to see how things are done differently. Now, there are some radical things that I have done differently that I didn't think were going to affect the overall outcome of the game in a horrific sort of way, such as in the Paladin playthrough, killing Karlach. Just to see the differences in how Will's storyline plays out here, and his interactions with Mazora, and that sort of stuff. And being able to see Karlach in one playthrough and not in the other, I mean, it's 6 of one, half dozen the other for me. But I was seriously considering playing the Paladin playthrough here and this interaction with the Last Light in a much different way. Even without being a dark Urge character, you can play out the Last Light in a much different way. And especially how that interacts with the ending of the Gauntlet of Shar and Shadowheart's main questline. Hey Dave, welcome back. That choice, however, is monumental. And having the people in the Last Light Inn end up dying can again put a serious limiting effect on how the end game plays out. And it's, rather than just losing one character, companion character, in the game, you lose one more companion character in the game. You lose a vendor who sells some of the best endgame items in the game. And you miss out on a huge ally in both the Ketheric, Thorm, and the endgame fights. So, for a long time, I was planning to have my Paladin playthrough, have Shadowheart make a decision concerning the Night Song that would have done that. And I think I'm now shying away from it. But we've still got a while until we get to the Gauntlet of Shar, so I don't know. Maybe I'll change my mind back. I don't know yet. and hey Jerry, welcome back. And hey David, welcome back again. Yeah, I mean there's a lot, and this is why I love Act 2 so much. I've said before, I've got over 850 hours in the game. I've got 13 full, complete playthroughs through Act 1. So I've been invested in Act 1 since early access. A little bit before that, but that's another story. I've been invested in that for a long time. Act 1 is great. There's a lot of content in it. But Act 1 also ends on a fairly high note. You have a big party, basically, you know, and the tieflings are saved, and all is well and right with the world. You get into Act 2, and Act 2 is it's The Empire Strikes Back. It is a major downer. It is an amazing sink from the highs that you feel at the end of Act 1 into the depths of seeing how everything that played out in Act 1 was for naught in a lot of ways. And the consequences that you make in the storyline aren't just things that will slightly affect you later on. They are monumental. They will change the entire course of how the game plays out for you, depending on the choices you make here in this act. And that's why I love, out of all three acts, I love Act 2 the most. This is my favorite part of the game. From the beginning, right when you step into the Shadowlands and you get the eeriness of it, and the darkness of it, and the hopeless feeling that your allies have while they're going through it, to the amazing boss fights that you have, to the struggle that Shadowheart goes through. It's all amazing to me in this act. And I've been looking forward to this for a long time to share it with you guys. Like I said, I've played this Act 2 3 different times now. And I've seen all the different interactions, and I love every second of Act 2. The Paladin playthrough is going to be hiring, Philip. That's just because I want to bring a bard into the party. And we are this is kind of what I mentioned, and you'll hear it again here in 30 seconds or so when I start up the intro here, talking about how we're going to start off the new year. So we will get ready to go ahead and get started here. Welcome everyone to today's playthrough, episode 21 of our Baldur's Gate 3 Paladin gameplay series. I'm Commander Jorval, and I want to thank you for coming along on our journey today. So on our admin notes, the first thing is that the weather has obviously gotten colder where I'm at, and that means that my heater's running a lot more than usual, and that means that it's really dry here in my house and where I live. So that always aggravates my throat and my sinuses a little bit, so I'm sniffing more and coughing more than I normally would. So I try and keep that off stream with my mic, make sure that I've muted that. But if I do cough in your ears, please drop me a comment and let me know that I forgot to do it, and I'll pay more attention to it. If for some reason I do forget to unmute my mic, then please let me know, and we'll get back into it. But yeah, I'm trying to keep that from coughing directly in your ear, so I apologize if it happens. So for the next admin note, I think it's a good idea to start off. This is obviously the last set of live streams before the new year. And I've told you from the very beginning of my playthroughs that I have a plan for how my characters have been mapped out. Now that plan is adjusted a little bit here and there over time for some of the characters, but I have plans mapped out for not just my main characters, but also the companion characters. And that is still true. My plan was originally to wait until I got to level 8 on my characters. That gives you access to 2 feats, unless you're multi-classing. If you're multi-classing 4 and 4, then you're obviously still going to get 2 feats, but 8 gives you a good point to do it. 8 is about halfway through the content in Act 2 here. So that would be a good point to start doing it. I figured, why not do it just a little bit early? I'm at level 7 on my playthroughs, and I think I can start off the new year by really doing some respecs on my characters. Now, I could spend an entire playthrough going through the respecs of all of the characters that I have in my camp, because it's not just the characters in my party, because I swap those characters in and out. So there's a lot of companion characters and myself to do. So I think I'm going to do 1 or maybe 2 each live stream, where we will start off and end the live stream by doing a complete respec of one of the characters and getting them closer to their final form, so to speak. Now, between the playthroughs, between the Bard playthrough and the Paladin playthrough, some of the origin characters might be the same. Some of them will not be the same. My Paladin has already been, from day 1, built around a certain spec. So I don't have to respec my Paladin. My Paladin is on course right now to do exactly what I wanted it to do. But I think we can start showing off some of the benefits and synergies that come with multi-classing some of our characters into different things or combinations of different things. And I think starting off the new year is a good time to do that. New year, new characters, and kind of take some exploration in that. So we'll explore that more as we get into the live streams next week. And speaking of the new year, I want to give my final admin note and just say thank you all. When I first decided to start live streaming, the reason I did it was because I was playing Baldur's Gate hundreds and hundreds of hours, and I had learned a lot about it, and I figured, you know what, it's going to take me maybe an hour to set up how to do a live stream, and then all I have to do is click a button every week. I'm going to be playing the game anyway. If I can help others maybe enjoy the game a little bit more or learn a little bit more about the game, then I might as well. I've never got into this, to be famous or to get rich off of it, and I don't want any of that. That's not why I'm doing it. But the fact that 1,000 of you have shown up and subscribed to the channel and continue to show up to the live streams and participate every week in the comment sections is just amazing to me. And I just, again, want to say thank you for the community that I have here. I've told you before, I really enjoy interacting with all of you, and that's going to continue. I've had some questions about the live streams there. As long as I play the games, I don't care how popular the games are with everybody else, or what reviews are saying about it. If I'm playing the game, I'm going to click that button to start the live stream, and then if people show up, they show up. If they don't, they don't. But the fact that y'all are showing up and continue to show up is amazing to me. So thank you for an amazing few months here at the end of this year, and hopefully we'll continue on through next year. So I hope I will see you then. So I think that finishes the admin notes. So on a recap, at the end of last week's live stream, we had gotten into the Shadowlands. We entered the Shadowlands through the Underdark, not the Mountain Pass. We entered through the Underdark, and at that point, we kind of explained the mechanics of the Shadow Curse and how it was working. We kind of explored a little bit and made our way down, and we found a group of Harpers at the end of last week's live stream. And that is exactly where we're going to pick up, is in the ruined battlefield, waiting to talk to a group of Harpers here. But before we do it, we're going to spend a second getting ready. Hey Patrick, welcome to the live stream. And yeah, I hope you have a happy new year and hope you've had happy holidays. So thank you for being here. Okay, so here we are. You see down here, as we saw at the end of last live stream, we have a group of Harpers that are down here. We're going to have a conversation with them. However, that conversation is not just a conversation in and of itself. You are going to get a dramatic introduction to the Shadowlands. And as part of that, we are going to do a little bit of preparation for this first. This encounter can go a couple of different ways, but it can also get out of hand very, very quickly. And I want to kind of explain that a little bit and kind of prep for it a little bit as we go. So remember how we have things set up. We have the Blood of Lathander bound and equipped on our Paladin.
Can't afford any
and
mistake.
These are the other party members that we have currently with us. Now, Shadowheart is a source of radiant damage, which is going to be very important here in this encounter, and as such we are going to keep Shadowheart hopefully out of the way a little bit. Okay, we want to be able to maximize her input, but we're trying to also maximize everybody's input here to a certain extent. So Gale doesn't really matter as much. But I'm going to leave them up here on this high ground just for now. Whether you have the high ground or not in this, you're going to quickly find out is not going to matter. Okay, so Astarion has moved too far away, so he's in the Shadow Curse, so I'm going to move him over here to get him into this light source. That's what's going to happen every time somebody enters the shadow area who is not immune to it, like Shadowheart. Shadowheart's immune to it, so she can stand out there in it, but if Gale or Astarion enter into a shadowed area, they're going to go into turn-based mode. And you have one turn to get out of the Shadow Curse before you start taking necrotic damage.
Nice and quiet now.
And you're going to see that come into play here, and that's why I lit this brazier to begin with. I have 2 light sources up here, but now I'm going to come out of hiding with my Paladin.
How much farther can I go?
And who's in it? Oh, Gale is in it.
Such an undignified position to find oneself in. Oh.
Okay. I just need to move him back a little bit closer to the brazier. Be okay there? He is.
Still breathing, despite everything.
Okay, and now I'm going to move
Right at my feet.
my Paladin down here and start this conversation.
Stay together. Keep to the light. Stop! Who's there?
Oh, an Oath of Vengeance option here.
Whether we attack or not depends entirely on you, love. Come into the light. Hands high. Jonas, move in!
Jonas! Jonas!
I'm here! Where are you?
Jonas? Can you see our torches?
I can't see anything! Something's wrong!
Follow my voice. Come back to the light.
Who's there? Meg? Is that...
Jonas?
There you are. Come. Join me.
Jonas.
Harpers, you heard the man. To arms!
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, the first time I saw that, it gave me goosebumps. It was actually, it's so cinematic. And I had just come into the Underdark from this way, and it was amazing to see. Okay, so this shadow here popped up facing the wrong way. Normally, it faces down toward your main character, so at least some of this area is not in the detection cone. This time, it's facing all of us, so it brought everybody into combat. It looks like Gale is still out of combat, though. So, the detection cone, yeah, just barely missed him. Normally, this thing's facing this way. So, I was hoping to keep Shadowheart in reserve on this, but I'm not going to be able to. The shadows are going to get a lot of turns here before the light starts to dawn here a little bit on this encounter. So, the shadows, first, they're undead, so they are vulnerable to radiant damage, which is important to remember because Shadowheart and my Paladin both have radiant damage available to them through different means. They are resistant to all types of physical damage. They are immune to necrotic and poison, and they are resistant to all the other elemental type damages as well. So, and that's because they are ethereal in a lot of aspects. That's what's causing all of this to happen. Now, they have a weakness to sunlight, and this is why I was hoping to keep Shadowheart in reserve, because if Shadowheart is able... Ooh, and I did not check that. It might not have mattered, actually.
Can't afford to let up.
It didn't, because I didn't prep it. If you have Shadowheart with the daylight spell prepped, she can light up almost this entire area with the daylight spell, and then they have disadvantage on their attacks when it's happening. They're also going to have disadvantage when they are within range of the light of Lathander, and you'll see that because they're going to become blinded. But your way to attack the shadows is just to cause a whole bunch of damage to them, or to hit them with radiant damage, which does double damage. So here we have Astarion, and again, what I mean by this upper ground, this high ground doesn't really matter. Once they get in shadows, I don't think it's listed in here. It's not. But they have a shadow teleport function where they can move in between any obscured area. So that's another reason to light up this brazier up here. One, so you're protected from the shadow curse in this area, but also so that you can keep them from teleporting right on top of you while you're up here. So we need to start causing some damage here. And to do that, I'm going to start off with Hunter's Mark, just so I can maximize my damage here. I'm going to... Where's my detection cone? So it does have an overlap there from one of the shadows down here, it looks like. So I'm going to keep Gale in reserve. Okay, I don't think I need to use Luck of the Far Realms here. Okay, so he's got 1 hit point left. Okay. So I'm going to finish him off, and then again, I'm going to move here into this brazier area. Okay, and there was a little time in between there, between the light source here and here, that he was in the shadow curse, but he moved out of it. Okay, you can see he became blinded.
Shit. Took Jonas. Make every strike count.
Okay, and there you saw the shadow teleport. Okay, now any of the shadows that come within range of the Blood of Lathander become blinded. So I'm going to instantly have advantage against any of those targets. Okay, so makes them easy to hit, and for a Paladin, if I can hit you, I can Divine Smite you. So we're going to start off using one of our first level spells to cast Hex. Now they're going to be immune to necrotic damage here, but I'm not doing it for that particular reason. I'm doing it just to get Hex active so that I can keep refreshing it, is basically what it is. So I think even Harper Jonas, now that he's shadow cursed, he's resistant to necrotic, but not immune to it. So like I say, I'm doing it right now just to get Hex up and running. But now I'm going to start off this attack here. Okay, I don't need Luck of the Far Realms for this. Okay, so took half of them, so I'm going to Divine Smite here. And that ends that. Going to move in here between these two so I can blind them both. Don't need Luck of the Far Realms. And Divine Smite again. Now from here, I would like to move and blind that one as well. So now we are both kind of protected here against that aura. So I'm going to get Gale into this now. So how's Gale set up here? Jeez, he's not. Okay. I haven't touched Gale in a while, it looks like. Okay. Jeez. Okay. Alright, so we do have a couple of shadows here to deal with. I would prefer Harper Caro not be all the way out there. Now they are marked as yellow, so I don't think that protects them against my fireball. It does not, like it does me. You can see there's no damage being caused to me. My Paladin's not outlined, but it does not protect them. They are not green. They are yellow neutral. So, going to have to find other ways to do this. They take full damage from force, though. Let's see if we can knock out this one. Okay, didn't knock him out.
Nothing important is ever easy.
Okay, good. He came after me. Alright, so now we get our next
On the move.
banger, so to speak. So let's see where I can and can't reach with this. So I can reach all the way over there. So which one still has to go? None of them. So they're done. That one's there. We'll just upcast this to level 2. If this hits, he's dead. Oh, rolled low. Rolled really low. Yep. 5d6. And I rolled a 10. That's an average of 2 out of every damage roll. That was horrible. Okay, so who's Harper Megan here? She's too far. Just barely too far. Okay, I'm gonna have to try and focus on her. Coming up next turn. Still full. I can heal Lysandra though.
Take 2.
The shot. Finish them off!
Okay, so Astarion can reach out there. He's got disadvantage, but because of Guiding Bolt, that's offsetting. this should kill him. Okay. Oh, I'm trying to keep her alive. Miss, good. Move back in here, please. Okay, good. They're all blinded. So y'all have some problems now. I don't care about Hex on this one. Didn't I click X? Okay. Didn't need to do anything there. Okay, we won't worry. Actually, we'll reapply Hex over here. Use my extra attack here. And now let's move this way.
Swords meet sorcery.
Okay, so Gale's too far away up there, so let's move him down here. Boy, I would really like to get damage here, but if I do that, I'm definitely going to have to light the brazier because he's going to... Lysandra's going to run away toward this fight and leave me in darkness. I'll have a turn to rectify it.
I'm ready.
Oh, I can hit from way up there. Okay, so we'll do this one more time. Now, this is only level 1 version.
Strike hard, strike fast.
Hey, boy, she is rolling low. 4d6, she rolled 9. Oof. 4 to 24 possible, and she rolled a 9. Okay, so she's going to move. That's going to put Gale in the Shadow Curse. Starian's not going to be able to hit from up here. So... not a whole lot I can do. Because that's 36 meters to get down there. Yeah, that isn't going to work for him. He's not going to be able to make that far. So I think I'll just hold Astarian's turn. There's nothing I can do. Oh, and that critted and ended.
Now we've got to move. I know a safe place. Give me your map. Keep your torch high. If you step into the shadows, you'll be felled in a heartbeat. That's right. Protected by magic. Only spot in the region that's not been swallowed up by this damn curse. Light will save you here on the outskirts, but a few paces deeper you're screwed. If you want to catch your breath, the inn's the only place to do it. Hope to see you there. Harpers, move out!
Okay, now I need to get onto Gale. Okay. So...
back home will ever believe this.
that was the one thing I wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting the fight to end there. That's what I said at the end of the last turn, is when Lysandra moved, it put Gale in the Shadow Curse. I wasn't expecting the Harper here to kill Jonas, so that then my turn would come active, and I would be able to have Gale activate the brazier and keep him out of the Shadow Curse. Unfortunately, what happened is that he died, the cutscene automatically triggered, and during that, while that cutscene was happening, time was still running, and Gale was sitting in the Shadow Curse. And it ended up knocking him down. If it would have gone on much longer, it would have outright killed him. So that's the other downside if you don't have everybody carrying a torch, is that when that fight ends, everybody needs to be in a light source somewhere, or else that cutscene's going to trigger, time is going to keep running, and you're going to have all sorts of problems with it. Okay, so just something to keep in mind.
Next, I
So
wonder.
Shadowheart again doesn't really matter, and I don't have anybody in the Shadow Curse right now, so I can exit turn-based mode.
Got to press on.
Shadowheart, you can see whenever she's in the Shadow Curse, she's going to get a burst of Sharan energy that keeps her from being affected by it.
Keep your distance, darling.
Astarion, however, is not so lucky.
All's well that ends not as bad as it could have.
So what we need to do, pick up a torch, send it to Astarion, and have Astarion equip it. And now Astarion can make his way down. Before we do, though, there are these shadow vestiges on the ground.
You see an older woman on her knees scrubbing the floor of an inn. The patrons made a mess of things again the night before.
Hey, Fryzak, welcome to the stream.
Quick step.
Thanks for being here. So you see all these shadow vestiges, you learn that the shadows are actually the former...
You see a man stalking slowly through the woods, bow half drawn. If he bags a deer, the whole family will be kept fed all winter.
These are the former residents of the town of Wraithwind. We learned on our way in here that there's a town called Wraithwind nearby. These are the former residents of the town that have fallen to the Shadow Curse.
The image of an orange-haired cat asleep before a fireplace comes to you. What came of it?
Okay, so things are a little bit
Ready and willing.
grim here, so to speak. And that's going to be the underlying note behind everything that is happening here in the Shadowlands.
Can't give up now.
Okay? So the first thing we're going to do is
Magic.
get Gale back up. So 3, 3, 3, and 9. Okay, where are we here? Oh, actually, I shouldn't have done that. I should have used one. I need to get my spell slots back anyway. Should have just used the long rest to get some of Gale's hit points back, but doesn't matter. So now everybody has a torch or a light source or is immune to the Shadow Curse. And now we can kind of take stock of where we are and where we entered this place. So we entered from here, and we've come down here, and we had this encounter with the Harpers here. They have marked on our map an area right here. So we are right next to the last light inn. Okay, and this is the other main difference between coming in from the Underdark and coming in from the mountain pass is you can see how much farther away from the last light inn you are when you enter down here. If you completely disregard the Drider encounter and all of that, you're still much, much closer coming in from the Underdark. And this is why my recommendation, now that you've seen both of the ways to come in here, my recommendation is that if you're playing a good playthrough, that you come in through the Underdark. If you're playing an evil playthrough, or you're wanting to blend in and get to Moonrise immediately and are willing to sacrifice the Harpers, then come in through the mountain pass and you will be led directly to Moonrise, which is way down here. There is another big reason, and we're going to see a bit of that as we continue on through this. So we've got a little bit of exploring that we can do around here. You can see we have some ways leading out of this area. So we're going to do a little bit of looking around here.
Very well.
Okay, first thing is we're going to be picking up everything that we can. And again, the reason for that is we've sold off all of our items before we got here. We're not carrying any items or anything like that. We're not going to find a whole lot of items in here, but we are going to find some new crafting supplies. So there's also night orchids.
I bet that'll fit in my pack.
Which, if you remember...
This place. There's a power in these shadows. I can sense it. It's ancient. Familiar.
Somebody told us that night orchids were their favorite flowers.
Rings a bell? Why? Oh, hells. You didn't pick that by hand, did you? They're deadly poisonous. Joking. They're safe. And beautiful. Thank you. I don't have anything to give you in return, I'm afraid. We'll see. Give me a while to put my imagination to work.
Okay, so another little interesting tidbit that is only opened up by having that conversation with her previously. The first time you pick it up in here, she will mention that they are her favorite flower as well. We obviously had that opened up via that conversation we had with her after the party back at our camp after the Grove. Okay, so we're going to keep looking around out here. We have a potion of healing. Club, we have some rusty weapons. And we do have a wooden chest here.
Crack it open.
Okay, and we have another potion of animal speaking, which is always very good.
No one's stopped me yet.
Okay, so you can continue on down this way here. There is another area that you can explore down here. You see there's a campfire here. You can see we're getting some detection cones.
Breathe deep and move.
Okay, but
My hands.
not entirely sure what those detection cones are yet. Okay, so I failed that.
There is work to do. Unseen. Perfect. That might be worth
Okay.
it.
Okay, so we know that we're getting into something, and we can get our first glimpse of it. So there's a shadow-cursed needle blight here in the trees, and that means this detection cone here is probably coming from another one somewhere around here. So we have another fight here that is brewing for us. But again, we're in a situation where we don't necessarily have everybody immune to the Shadow Curse, right? So if we drop these things to grab our weapons, that might be bad for us.
This grave has been disturbed.
Ellie
Been an
May,
animal, whatever
my
lurks in this
light,
darkness.
my hope, my joy.
We do have a fire that is conveniently close to us, though. So once I'm here... Boy, Gale is horribly equipped.
If this is
And then Astarion.
they won't see me coming.
Now, for Astarion, it's not necessarily so bad because he concentrates on ranged attacks for the most part anyway.
Keeping my head down.
So what I'm going to do here...
Have to keep going.
Whatever comes, I'm ready. Need to tread softly.
Let's have some fun. Quietly.
Okay, there's another one somewhere around here. Because that detection cone, I'm missing a detection cone. This detection cone is from this one. Oh no, it's from that one. Okay, so yeah, this one here, that's a long ways. That's not right. There's another one somewhere. And I can't remember where it is. It's been so long since I've done this that I honestly can't remember where the other one is. Okay, so let's do two things. Okay. So even that, oh, because it changed to, that's right, it changed to two-handed. That's why it did that. So I'm not going to be able to initiate with Astarion. I forgot. It changed to dual wielding, so it got rid of that. That's why it did that.
What to do? Carefully now.
Who's in it now? Oh, Astarion again. Yeah, duh.
I can be subtle sometimes.
Okay, so let's see if we have a shot on any of these. We do.
I just want a little.
Who's in the... Nobody's in the Shadow Curse. Why did it put me into turn-based mode?
What comes now?
Never a dull moment.
Okay, there it is. Ah, there's the other one. Was down here. Okay, so
This really isn't my
with
fault.
Gale here, I have an antidote. For this. And I need to be careful with this. Okay. I need to get him farther down here just slightly and try and keep him in range. Okay. Now he's got concentration on Wall of Fire. That did not enter him into combat though.
Blood comes easy these days.
And for me, I forgot to approach this. Yeah, I did this completely wrong. I just came into this badly equipped. Just badly equipped.
Can't slow down.
Surprised you spotted me.
Slightly too far. See if I can move up just a little bit. I can. Okay, that brings Gale into combat. See if I can move Astarion out just a little bit. That's too far. Why did Gale...
Gone with the weave.
He's not. He's still concentrating on it. It looks like there's just a rendering bug there. Or something. Not showing it. Okay, and I still have Shadowheart out of the way, so I was hoping to get Astarion into this now. I don't think I'm going to be able to. I think he's going to have to get into it on his own when they approach me.
I won't give in.
One can't always be a gentleman.
Okay, so yeah, brought Astarion in.
is right.
Okay.
Need to act
We'll hold
fast.
that action. And I wasn't expecting her to get brought in, actually, but might be okay.
On I go.
So who's going next? So he in the back, he might not be able to move around everybody. And him. Okay, not too worried about him. He's going to have to move around this way. This guy is going to move next. Okay. I think I should still be okay here. So, the Shadow Curse Needle Blights. So, they have a needle burst. So, when they die, they explode in a needle burst, which puts out a lot of piercing damage. And because they're Shadow Cursed, they also have 1d4 of necrotic damage. So, you don't want to be standing near them, next to them when they die, is basically what you're trying, or what is trying to be told here. So, boy, I prepped for this horribly. I thought I prepped better than this. I didn't. I'm going to have to definitely go back through when I get to Last Light and prep for this better. This is... I did a horrible job here.
Time to kill.
Okay, and you see that explosion that it dealt. It's a lot of damage. I think that's too far for Astarion. But I will be able to move him back.
Let's do it.
That's not too far. So he's still in, he's not in the Shadow Curse there.
Ready.
Okay, so now Shadow Heart. Okay, it moved off of that when it happened, but that is the needle burst is non-entity specific. So if you can kill one of them while they're all grouped up, you're going to get hopefully a chain reaction like that that will kill all of them at the same time. So that was the goal there, is that I would get them all grouped up on this this pathway here where they're all right next to each other. And if you can kill one, that's why I said I thought I was still going to be all right when they were lined up. Because if I didn't, then this guy was going to get to move. He was going to move all the way up here. And then I was going to use my Paladin to use
Where do I go from here?
the Sunbeam from the Blood of Lathander to hit everybody in a row, and whoever didn't die from the Sunbeam damage was going to get killed by the explosions caused by everybody else. So another really good way to do it is to cast if you have the range. So normally if you can get Gale up here on this high ground beforehand, you Misty Step him up there, you can cast Wall of Fire from here all the way down this entire length, and they have to run through it the entire way, taking damage the whole time, and they'll just slowly kill each other as they come up it. But yeah, if you look at what happened here, all of this is Needle Blights blasting each other. So here's Shadowheart's hit. Was hit for 11 radiant damage. I killed it. It was slain by it. Everybody around it got radiating orb. And then all of a sudden things started blowing up. So one of them saved. The other one did not. So it died. It took, it got blasting damage, necrotic damage. It killed another one. That one fell to a lethal blow and blew up. It blasted the next ones in line and just kept going all the way down until it killed them all. So that's kind of the key to this encounter. And we're not done yet. There's still one more left. But that's kind of the key to this encounter, is to get them all grouped up, kill one, and then just watch the fireworks happen. Yeah, and that's true. You can certainly knock them all off into the chasm here with Shockwave, and that's another good way to go about it. So here I'm gonna move up a little bit.
I feel my way.
Okay, now the Vine Blights are different. They do not have that that explosion mechanic that go along with them. They're more tanky, but they do not have that ability like the others. So don't think that you can kill them with that same methodology.
I don't fancy their chances.
Okay, and I'm just going to end all of these turns
The dance macabre.
because he's not within range, and I'm not going to go venturing out there.
On I go.
Oh, wait. Oh, I forgot about Constrict. Okay, yeah, his ranged attack is a Constriction attack, which basically pops vines up out of the ground to keep you held in place. Now, Constriction is kind of like Witch Bolt. You can reapply it every turn as long as you maintain the concentration for it. So we want to make sure that whatever we're doing here, we are getting rid of his concentration. And I need to... Okay, so he kept his saving throw. That was made his saving throw. That was unfortunate.
They burn.
So I'm going to move Gale up.
Certainly.
He's going to go in the Shadow Curse and immediately come out of it. Okay, so I can hit her. Okay, so broke Constricted, which is what I wanted.
I missed this.
And again, move Astarion down here.
Let's go.
Still only with that 75% chance here. Okay, that should light him up. Still going after me. Let's make sure what my passives are. I want to turn that off. Okay. So now with Gale, I can remove Wall of Fire. And yeah, there was just a rendering bug there for that. And I don't need to take a long rest here. Or a short rest, I mean. So now we'll move out here, and again, this is just a... Oh, yeah. Keep forgetting other people are reliant on that.
Let's move.
Okay, now all the Needle Burst Blight have Shadow Root sacks on them. And this is just one of the reasons why I... Well, oh no, Woodbark's from the other one, right? No, I guess they do have different ones. I thought they all had the same. But this is why I don't like pushing them off, is just because I want to be able to pick up all of the... Okay. I want to be able to pick up all of the crafting ingredients. Oh, come on. Okay.
Moving ahead.
Now I'll make my way back here, and we'll group everybody back up. Okay, so now what's my order? Okay, so Astarian, so Gale's at the end. So this might work. We'll see if it keeps popping me into and out of the Shadow Curse mode or not. I don't think it will. So... Again, this area that you're exploring is going to continue on down toward this direction here. And I don't want to go too far down there. Let me get my bearings here. Okay, so I know where that is. So yeah, it would be down here that I don't want to go to. I'm still quite a ways away from that, so I should be okay to continue exploring a little bit here. So, because we are going to make our way to the Last Light Inn. That is definitely somewhere that we're going to go. We have this encounter here with He Who Was, and trying to think if I want to do this now or wait. It doesn't really matter if I pick it up now.
Where lies your guilt?
The waiting mode.
And I have met few who stand so tall and fearless in the face of the unknown. Be on your way, brave soul. A fair point. Perhaps this one could assist us. The murdered lie silent. The raven asks, will you be their voice? Then you and I were fated to meet. This woman tended a bar where she took her patrons, her friends, into her confidence, promised their secrets were safe with her. Yet she turned their words into knives and stabbed them in the back. They died because of her, and to this day her victims lie unavenged. You see it as I do. I seek a record of this one's crimes, written in her own hand. Through it, I can summon her spirit and force her to face trial for her crimes. Such spells are ancient secrets and closely guarded. But I could be convinced to share them with an ally. Your soul sparks with justice, with fortitude. This is your chance to bring a murderer to justice, to avenge her victims. Will you take it? I thank you, as do those who died by her words. Go to the distillery, the one she calls the Waning Moon. Find the ledger and bring it to me.
Okay, so fairly straightforward there, and falls right in, of course, with our Oath of Vengeance Paladin type of thought. At the end of the day, you're going to have to make a choice.
I thought so.
Between He Who Was and Madeline. But that choice is only able to be made after you have found her information, which is over here at an old tavern. You can see that Moonrise is right here. So it's right next to Moonrise Towers. So it's something we're not going to be dealing with for a while yet, but no harm in picking it up right now, anyway.
What do we have here? Don't mind if I do.
Hello, you. With ease.
Okay, so we're going to cancel this and we're going to put the rest of his stuff on. Whoops. That's actually a really nice scroll to have. keep forgetting just to left click on it.
Don't mind me.
Okay.
Free for the taking.
And again, just like I've talked about previously, if I'm going through unexplored areas, I move in short bursts. Because you never know when you're going to run up against something that you haven't seen before, or something that was previously hidden, or something like that, so... Okay, so where am I on my map? Okay, so we can continue on down this way for a little bit more. Okay, and now you can see where we ended back up. We came in a big circle around all of that and ended up back down here at the other end of this. Okay.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Come on up here, please. Then I guess I will wait and break my group and take Astarian up here.
Should be easy.
How bad is the DC? Only 10. Not a big deal. Boy, the rolls. Roll the polymorph is great.
Don't want to think about where my eye is itching. What path lies before me?
Okay. Now, before you get
Let's get in and out.
too far, you can see where we're at. So we're getting somewhat close to the entrance to the last light in here. And you can actually see that entrance here. So we need to get down this way around here. Okay, now there are some unexplored areas here because there's a shadow root sack up this way where we had that previous encounter that we definitely want to pick up. We don't want to miss it.
I'll take that.
And this way over here just takes us back around this to the same spot, but we can go this way. Have we searched Harper Jonas? We haven't. But I'll just pick up all that. And I'm picking up anything and everything to be able to sell it later on. Okay, and this brings us right down here to the bottom where we just saw. Okay, and now here, see a raven lying dead on the ground. It's kind of glowing. You examine it. Doesn't really say anything, just says it's dead.
The shadows claimed that bird. Not for me to interfere.
Okay, so Shadowheart mentioned something there. That the shadows have claimed that bird. We're going to
Jesus, starting to wake.
move everybody
I'm
in
ready.
here.
No time to dally.
And wow, horrible preparation. Okay, let's rectify that now. This was horrible. Okay. Okay, that's better. All right. And now we are going to cast Spirit Guardians with the Radiant damage version. And then I'm going to grab the Raven. Okay. All right, so again, very quickly, the Raven is a trap. When you touch the Raven, the Shadow Cursed Ravens attack and they surprise you. Now, unless you are, if you have alert or you have an item that prevents you from being surprised, that means all the Ravens are going to get to attack first.
How do people do this all day?
Now, unfortunately for the Ravens, you can see they all have only one hit point. So they all have very few hit points, but they can do a lot of damage. Just because they're all shadow cursed and they all have a necrotic damage that goes along with it. So if you cast Spirit Guardians and you have that AoE effect happening around you and then do it, they surprise you, they all try and move toward you to attack you, and they all run into Spirit Guardians and they all die. So that's an easy way to clean this whole fight up. Otherwise, you're going to fight like 12 of these Ravens, and they can get in some decent damage before you get a turn. So it can be a little overwhelming unless you prep for it. Now, you're not going to get anything from any of them, I don't believe. Even the original one, wherever it is, which is right here, I think. Oh, there's a note here. Right, I forgot this. So, yeah, this is a note that was left from somewhat from one of the original inhabitants of Rythwin, talking about how the Shadow Curse is coming through, and they're praying to Selûne, the Moon Maiden, for any help here. You do have up here some charming little eggs, which you can jump up here to get. There's also a traveler's chest. Okay.
Don't touch me.
So I'm just going to have to...
How about this?
Should be okay with him because there aren't any combat encounters left before I get into
Simple.
the last light in. And you can, yeah, Jerry. You don't have to have the fight with the ravens. It's really, really easy if you have Shadowheart in your party. So it just makes it an easy thing to do.
Can't slow down.
And then there's another traveler's chest back here.
How delicious. Over here.
Shouldn't have wished to live in more interesting times.
Best be on my way.
Okay, and now you get to the crossroads here.
This place is protected. Must be the refuge the Harpers spoke of. For a warm bed and full stomach, look no further. Welcome to the Last Light Inn.
Okay, so we can go ahead and make our way in here.
Over and through.
No shadows here. Something must be keeping it at bay.
You there! Step forward and keep your hands off your weapons.
Easy. He's with me.
Come.
Okay, now the difference was that Lysandra
Jaheira!
was there this time to vouch for us. Not the Harper that we met at the ambush, as in the Bard playthrough.
Well, I am certainly no innocent, Paladin. So I'll bind you with vines a moment longer, if you do not mind.
This is why we're here, you see. It is a curious creature that hides all manner of secrets. But if there's one thing that we know, it's that it knows its own kind. You should never have come here, true soul.
Stop! What are you doing? He's the one who saved us!
He's the one who protected the Emerald Grove.
Yup. Didn't leave a goblin standing. Not so bad to hang around with either. Saved two of my friends. One from a harpy, and one from a mad druid with a snake. Didn't make a fuss of our thieving either. I pretty much trust him with my life.
A true soul with a mind of his own? How is that possible?
And Mole vouches for us if you save the tieflings. If you didn't save the tieflings, then there's no one to vouch for you at this point. But if you did that, you were probably playing an evil playthrough anyway, and you've already been to Moonrise Towers on the convoy. And if you've already been to Moonrise Towers, then you met somebody in Moonrise Towers, and that someone will show up here to vouch for you instead. I won't get into any spoilers on that just yet. We'll talk more about it a little bit later on in the playthrough here.
in the hells is that thing? Congratulations. You've earned yourself the benefit of the doubt. Hear me, Harpers. All clear. At ease. I'll not pretend to understand what that artifact is. But I'm old and wise enough to recognize a sliver of hope when it crawls out of the dark. Tell me, why have you come here? Then you found an ally in me. For that is precisely why I am here. There's food in the inn over there. Beds too if you require rest. Aloe oil in the cupboard, in case the vines gave you a rash. Settle in. Then come join me for a drink. You may just be the godsend we've been praying for.
Okay, so the same entrance here into this. You can talk to Lysandra again.
Good to see a friendly face.
And she'll recognize again that you were the one that helped out there during that fight with the shadows. So, again, somebody to vouch you through at the gate. That will be different depending upon how you've played it, and which direction you entered into, and where you've explored out here through not just this area. This is 1/4 of the map. You have another quarter down here, which is accessible through this pathway here. And then you have a whole nother quarter of the map here, and another one down here. Now, this is the town of Raithwin. Raithwin in Forgotten Realms is straddling the river Keontar. This might be a little bit of a misnomer, or kind of maybe oriented the wrong way. Keontar runs east and west in the Forgotten Realms. And this is one branch of it, and there's another branch on this side of the last light, and that come together, and the full river extends down this way. And you'll see that as we start to open up the map. This whole thing really should be rotated 90 degrees this way, so that the last light ends over here, and the river's cutting through it from east to west. But that's a minor thing I think we can forgive Larian for doing. But the main part about it is that the town is mostly on the north bank. Here it's the west bank of the Keontar River. So you have half of the map on the east side, which is this wilderness here and this wilderness here. And then on the west side of the map, you have the south side of the city, which has Moonrise Towers in it. And you have the north side of the city, which has the Mausoleum, the Masons Guild, some other things like that around that. The south part of the city is all entirely built around Moonrise Towers, and we'll talk more about the lore behind Moonrise Towers later on when we get to that area. So for now, we're going to do two things, and the first is we want to head over here, and well, first we need to look, since I have prepared so horribly for this. I can't believe I was this unready to be here.
Whatever it takes.
Yes?
Yeah, I've prepped for this horribly bad. I just decided, I guess, at the end of last live stream just to come in here all devil may care attitude. Because, yeah, I am not prepared for this at all. I've got one Infernal Iron on me. I need to head back to my camp. I am not going to take a long rest.
Let's get going. What's hiding here?
I'm just going to go get some stuff out of the traveler's chest, because this is horrible. Okay, so I want the Exterminator Axe. I want the Light of Creation. I want all 3 of the Devil Foil masks. I want the Vision of the Absolute. Okay. Okay, and here's the rest of it. Okay, now we'll leave camp. So, I've now got all of those. I do have one more, the 4th Infernal Iron here.
I wish we had a bloody army.
No time to rest. Best be on my way.
So again, we're going to head over here and talk to Dammon. Now again, I don't know what I did with Dammon's attitude this playthrough, so we'll find out here real quick.
It's you. What are the odds? So glad you're all right. Well, as all right as any of us. A makeshift Harper's fire might not be where I hope to set up shop. But maybe I've got something you can use anyway. And if you find any interesting materials in need of working, I'm happy to help.
Okay, so first, let's see what his attitude is. Okay, so his attitude is almost all the way up. That's good. We can just give him a few more items. And hopefully get that up the rest of the way. So most of these things like this aren't going to do much. But... And you see, torches are worth, you know, a decent amount of gold when you go to sell them. So they're all over the place out there. So let's see if I just barter without demanding anything. He went from 80 to 86% here. So his attitude's at 91. $95. Okay, so almost there. Okay, and that gets me close enough. Chain shirt +2. Oh yeah, needs to go here. Jeez. What did I do, chat? I could have sworn I changed that out. Because, yeah, see, it's a huge bonus. I'm not going to sell it. I'm going to keep it for now. No one's using the bow of the Banshee? No.
Which way to the nearest
They're
library?
not. Okay. Well, I'm going to have to spend some time going through this, it looks like. And find out. But his attitude is almost 100 right now. And that's good enough for what we're going
I'll be
to
here if you
need.
need anything else.
So
Need anything? I can
let's
sense
deal with all
something.
of
Smell it
these.
almost. Somewhere in the area. Underground, maybe. Out there in the shadows. If you find it, bring it to me. I'll make something incredible.
Absolutely. Rare to get your hands on this stuff. Well done keeping it to hand.
There you are. And be careful who you show that to. It might draw the wrong kind of attention.
So we got one of the pieces of armor. We'll just talk to Dammon real quick and go through all of these, and then we'll look at our inventory afterward.
It's perfect. Really. Just a moment. I'll be able to work this one quickly.
There you are. And be careful who you show that to. It might draw the wrong kind of attention. Need anything? Well, well, well. I knew I smelled something. And I know just what to do with it. One moment. There you are. And be careful who you show that to. It might draw the wrong kind of attention. Need anything?
Using something that's already fabricated is tough, but I can try. How many do you have? I thought I sniffed American scent somewhere. These must have been a pain to get a hold of. American masks are brittle, so what I make won't last as long as my usual pieces. There. Be careful who sees you using that. Might draw the wrong sort of eyes.
Okay, now when you talk to Dammon now,
Need anything?
there's no other materials, you can just barter with him. So what we picked up was the flawed Helldusk armor. So heavy armor. It's got lesser infernal retribution on it, so when you're hit by a foe, they might take 1d4 fire damage. Superior plate, so you take 1 less piercing damage and you have disadvantage on stealth checks. So it's okay, but nothing compared to our adamantine splint that we're wearing. It comes with the flawed Helldusk helmet, which the wielder has a +2 bonus to saving throws against spells, which is really good. And it has Constitution saving throws +1. So this is good. It's medium armor, and it gives a really good saving throw against spells. The Constitution saving throw is just a bonus, but yeah, it's a decent helmet to start off with. Then the flawed Helldusk gloves are gloves that give your weapon attacks, and that's all weapon attacks, an additional 1d4 fire damage. Your unarmed attacks deal an additional 1d4 necrotic damage and can possibly inflict bleeding. So for your unarmed monks, this is a set of gloves that can really, really help them out. Plus you get strength saving throws +1. So it's a straight upgrade for dealing damage with weapon attacks. Now, Astarion has been using Absolute's Bane, or the Gloves of Power, that gives Absolute's Bane to be able to Bane a target and possibly give it a 1d4 penalty to its attack rolls and saving throws. You can change those out on Astarion, and now his weapon attacks, including his ranged attacks, are now going to deal an additional 1d4 fire damage. So that can be, you can see what happens when you take them off. So actually it's not showing any of them. Oh, yes it is. It's showing it down there, it's just not calculating it. Oh yeah, it is. It's weird, it's not showing it in the numbers down here. Yeah, it doesn't show them in the numbers down here. It shows them in the tooltips though. So, see here I'm getting 1d4 additional fire damage on each of my ranged hand crossbows. So that's 2d4 additional fire damage ranged from whenever Astarion is making attacks with that. So again, can be very, very useful for a damage boost for Astarion. He's going to give up the Bane effect and basically take a straight damage boost instead of it. But you can see it applies to everything. So dual wielding these two short swords, again, I'm adding fire damage to both of them as you're doing it. So can be, again, very, very useful. So the Flawed Helldusk helmet is kind of, I need to check and see, honestly. So he does have medium armor, and that's because of his ranger levels. Good. So I can swap this onto here. I'm going to be able to get rid of the light cantrip. So where is... I don't even have... Oh, because I failed the check to get the ring on this playthrough. It's like, why don't I have the fetish of Menzo Baranzan? That's because I don't have the guiding light, or the fetish of Calderan's hands. Why don't I have it? It's because I failed that check when I was in the Underdark. Or in the Grimforge. So... But I can apply now... I can swap this back. And then Shadowheart can put the Ring of Salving back on. Why is she wearing the caustic band? I guess because there was nobody else? Maybe. Because, yeah, the arcane synergy here is going to work whenever I deal damage with a cantrip. So whenever I use Eldritch Blast, I'll gain arcane synergy. Crusher's Ring for movement. I could give up the Crusher's Ring in place of the caustic band. Oh, hey, Patrick. Oh, I appreciate that. That's the only reason that I'm that I'm doing these things is that hopefully. Sorry, and I'm trying to concentrate on what I was trying to do here. There it is. Swap those two. Is that hopefully people are going to be able to learn from the things that I'm doing here. And I apologize for this completely uninteresting gameplay that I'm doing here. I prepped for this, for coming into the Underdark, horribly badly, it appears. Okay. So I think for now, I'm okay with all of this. Let's put... I can get rid of the torches for now, because fairly soon I am not going to need them. I still have a short rest left. Where am I on action economy? Okay, so my level 4 is gone. Okay, I'm still good.
So that's progress.
Okay, we're going to go in here and do... Well, first, let's check the wares that we have here with Dammon.
Need anything?
Okay, so under trading here, like I said, Dammon has some of the best items that you're going to find in the game, especially in Act 3. But here there are some very, very good ones. So the Charge-Bound Warhammer, this is very similar to the previous Charge-Bound weapon, or the previous bound weapon that we found in Act 1, that was the Githyanki short sword. That this weapon is going to have additional magic powers if it is a packed weapon. So, in other words, right now it's going to do 1d10 if you wield it two-handed, or 1d8 if you wield it single-handed with a shield like my Paladin does. It would still gain the +2 acid from the caustic band. However, this would also then have a +1 bonus to damage and attack rolls once you bind it. So then it would turn into 1d8 +3 for your damage. And if you look at the Blood of Lathander, it's 1d6 +7. The only reason it's +7 is because it's my packed weapon right now. And then it would also do an additional 1d6 lightning damage on top of that. So as a bound weapon, this thing is going to do much more damage than the Blood of Lathander will do when I bind it. And you'll kind of see that here in a second. Now that's counting on the 1d6 lightning damage that goes along with it. However, you'll kind of see how this plays out here in a second, because I am going to pick this up. The Darkfire Shortbow is a +2 weapon that grants resistance to fire and cold damage, but it also allows you to cast haste once per long rest. So you have a free cast of haste. So this, anytime that you get a chance to cast haste, that's a good thing to have. Haste is incredibly powerful. The resistance to fire and cold damage is certainly beneficial. Having a +2 shortbow is also very good, but having the ability to cast haste is amazing. So we're going to pick that up. The Harmonium Halberd is an intriguing weapon, especially if you're doing the min-max route of things. This gives you a +2 strength bonus. Now, a +2 strength bonus is going to give you a +1 bonus on 2 hit and to damage if you are a strength-based character. And this goes up to 23 as the maximum level. So if you've gotten one of your strength-based characters, like a fighter or a barbarian or something like that up to that level, and especially if you're doing either Polar Master or Great Weapon Fighting or Great Weapon Master, you can really bump your strength up to gain that extra +1 to hit and +1 damage utilizing this. Now, I'm not doing that with any of the characters that I have, so to speak, but I am going to keep this in reserve just for a particular reason later on. And we're going to check some more of that. Well, actually, I don't think, because I probably won't use her nearly as much in this playthrough. So, I think I'll not purchase this time, but it can be incredibly useful. Most of these are going to be +1 versions of your weapons. Going to get down here, however, and you start getting into this line, and this is where things get really interesting. So, Clutching Umbra at first glance just looks like a +1 short sword. However, Shadow-Soaked Blow is amazing. Once per short rest, you can use this to strike an enemy, and you add your proficiency bonus to the damage. Now, right now, my proficiency bonus is +3, so it's going to add a straight +3 to the damage. However, if the attack hits, it deals an additional 1d6 psychic damage, and this attack doesn't break concealment. This is kind of stupid. So again, just thinking about what it does on the face of itself, adding in just a +1 damage is, just the same as a lot of the other short swords that Astarion has. However, throwing in Shadow-Soaked Blow once per short rest, that's just, again, a little bit crazy. So right now, Astarion's got the Steel Forged Sword, which is just +1. Even if he changed that out to the Short Sword of the First Blood, which does additional damage to full health targets, once per short rest, having this available to him, yes, please. So again, the Short Sword of the First Blood, it does that 1d6 or that 1d8 piercing only against targets that have all their hit points. So that first attack is great, but then after that, you might not ever get it again in a combat. It would be the same type of thing with this, except this isn't going to break your concealment when you do it. So next on the list is the Sword of Lifestealing. So on a critical hit, the target takes an additional 10 necrotic damage. That is not 1d10. That is 10 necrotic damage, as long as it isn't a construct or an undead. You also gain 10 temporary hit points out of it, and your weapon enchantment is +2 to hit and to damage. So again, on a critical hit, this is going to happen. Now remember, I have most of my characters outfitted with Luck of the Far Realms. So with Luck of the Far Realms guaranteeing a critical hit, I can walk up to somebody with this and guarantee that I'm going to deal an additional 10 necrotic damage on addition to the 1d6 +5 piercing and the 1d4 fire from my gloves, and gain 10 temporary hit points out of it. So again, a really, really good short sword to have. So kind of one of those, again, you only get that once per long rest, Luck of the Far Realms. So then once you've done it once, you can change out to the Sword of the Clutching Umbra and get that huge additional damage once per short rest every time after that. So then the Thermodynamo Axe is whenever you deal damage with the weapon, you gain 2 turns of heat. We've talked about heat before. That's another one of those, you build it up and then you gain something out of it type of thing. So you build it up, and every time that you get heat, you're going to take 1d4 fire damage. However, every time that you deal damage with it, you're going to deal an additional 1 fire damage for every turn of heat remaining. So your first turn that you get it, you're going to take 1d4 fire damage, but you're going to deal an additional 2 fire damage for that turn. The next turn after that, if you hit with it, you're going to be up to 3 turns of heat. You'll take an additional 1d4 fire damage, but you'll deal 3 additional fire damage, and it just keeps going up and up and up the more you hit with it, and you're always going to be taking 1d4 fire damage. So against high hit point single targets, especially if you have fire resistance, an elixir of fire resistance active, this can be really useful. I've seen this number go up to some kind of stupid numbers in videos of additional straight fire damage that you can deal. But again, not something that I'm going to be really focused on. The Thorn Blade is one of those conditional when you are concentrating type things, which is very good for anybody who's got Hunter's Mark active, or who has got Hex active or something like that. When you're concentrating on that spell, you're going to gain an additional 1d4 poison damage straight up every time. It also gives you access to the Ensnaring Strike melee action that you can use. So now your armors down here are really going to get into the +2 versions of everything that you would expect to see. So +2 padded, leather, chain, all of that sort of stuff. So for Astarion right now, the version that he would have is, right now he's got a chain shirt +2 that's 15 armor class. Scale mail +2 is 16 armor class. He's going to gain another +1 bonus to initiative rolls. He is going to lose the +1 bonus to dexterity saving throws and checks, so that additional +1 on his sleight of hand is going to go away. But he's going to trade that for a +1 armor class and a +1 bonus to initiative rolls. Now there's something else that I'm going to hold off on this for a second, and you'll kind of see why. So for the rest of this, remember, all the things that we sold him previously, all in Act 1, are still in his inventory. So you have access to all of this stuff again, if you sold him anything that you didn't want to sell him. That's why it's kind of a good idea to sell as much as you can to Dammon when you see him the first time in Act 1, as opposed to selling them to the Druid, because he's going to be with you throughout the entire game, and you can always go back and buy other things back from him. The last thing in here is the Swordmaster's Gloves, so you gain proficiency with short swords, long swords, and great swords. So if you don't have proficiency with any of those, you gain proficiency with it, and you gain a +1 bonus to your attack rolls because of it. So what was a +1 sword now becomes a +2 sword, and even if you weren't proficient with it, you can now use it as if it is. You're still going to have to make the attack roll. So you're strength-based, or if it's a finesse longsword, dexterity-based. But you're going to gain a +1 to that while you're going through it. So some good things here in his inventory to pick up. But now, let's go over to the other side over here.
Burning through our oil, but it should just about do.
Just about?
Just about.
How's the Barcus?
We shouldn't hang around too long, though.
We're going to talk to Quartermaster Tolly.
Stock up while you can. I only hope I've brought enough to see us through.
Okay, now you have a persuasion check here. For anything I could take off your hands at no cost. We have really good persuasion. We got a total bonus of +10. It's a DC of +10, so watch us roll our nat 1 here.
Cheeky. But, since you're asking.
Okay, and we got a free supply pack out of that.
If you're all right by Jaheira, you're all right by me.
Now, Quartermaster Tali we have not seen her before, so we don't have any attitude with her. She's completely neutral. Okay, but there are some very interesting things in her inventory as well, and this is why I said stocking up on stuff is going to start costing you a lot more. Now, I'm trying to think. I can't remember. Chat, does anybody remember? I don't think I've seen Quartermaster Tali in Act 3. I don't believe she is. Does anyone remember? I don't think she's in Act 3, so I don't think spending the time to up hers to see her again later is worth it. However, because of the stuff that she has in here, if you came into this with a load of gear, like I did in the Bard playthrough, which we will see next week, selling all of that useless stuff to her to get her attitude up to full, if you have it on you, is going to be well worth it, because there's a bunch of stuff here you are going to want to pick up. Yeah, I didn't think she was Henry. But she's got a bunch of stuff here you're going to want to pick up, that even if you could sell all of the stuff that you are carrying to her for 1,500 gold, you're going to save 4,000 worth if you buy all of the stuff that she has here. Okay. So to start off, the Defender Great Axe, and remember, I'm getting a 39% bonus here on this. So this is normally about 1,000 gold by itself. So here, the Defender Great Axe is whenever you make the first attack of... This is a +2 weapon, I guess, to start with. Whenever you make the first attack of the round, you have an option to reduce the weapon's enchantment to +1 only, and use that +1 to increase your armor class and saving throw bonus instead. So it's a toggleable thing that you can utilize it with, and it basically lasts for every round. So can be situationally useful, not something that I'm going to be focused on though. So the Incandescent Staff. So again, look at the bottom. 1,386 gold for this. But the Incandescent Staff gives you a ranged spell attack +1, which is very, very useful, because if you go into Scorching Ray or something like that, that requires a 2-hit roll. If you're using the Incandescent Staff, then to do it, then this is going to give you +1 on all of the attack rolls for every bolt that you send out. It also works with your cantrip, Firebolt. Fireball, it gives you a free Fireball cast, and this Fireball cast is once per long rest. If you don't have it already, it gives you access to the Firebolt cantrip. Now, Gale already has access to it, but if you didn't, it would allow you to cast it. So the Incandescent, and it also grants resistance to fire damage, so you're going to take half damage from fire that you encounter. So again, very, very useful, especially with the free cast of Fireball once per long rest. You're going to be paying for it though. Okay, and this is where saving up all of that gold is going to start coming in handy, especially here, and then even like 10 times more in Act 3. Okay, the rest of these are just +1 weapons. Then you get down to the Hat of Uninhibited Kashigo. Now, we saw the gloves of this previously. So after dealing damage with an unarmed attack, the wearer gains a +1 bonus to their spell save DC until the end of their turn. So this basically is going to make it harder for enemies to resist your saves until the end of your turn. So again, another specific monk-based type of item here, but can be utilized by unarmed barbarian builds and fighter builds and that sort of stuff as well, but really meant for your monk characters. The barkskin armor, don't let it fool you. It says it's got an armor class of 12. It's a medium armor. However, it says that you also have the effect barkskin on you, which increases your armor class to 16. So this is a medium armor here that has an armor class of 16 by itself. So again, that's the equivalent of scale mail +2 with a 16 armor class. You have advantage on Constitution saving throw checks. Again, your AC bonus, dexterity bonus is limited to +2, but that's the same as all other medium armors. So the barkskin armor can be very, very useful. It again avoids the disadvantage on stealth checks that happens with scale mail and that sort of stuff that go along with medium armors. Obsidian laced robe. Whenever you make a saving throw against an enemy spell, you deal 1d4 plus 3 fire damage to them, and you get resistance to fire damage. Again, situationally useful, but I guess for somebody who, especially not for your casters as much, but maybe for some other builds that rely on no armor type of things, this might be somewhat useful. I just never really found a good use for it. Shade Clinger is similar to what you saw with some of the Sharon armors and the Dark Justiciar stuff, where you get a bonus while you're obscured. In this case, you get an advantage on saving throws and get stealth +1. Again, never found it to be extraordinarily useful. The next two, however, are an entirely different story. Actually, the next 4 are an entirely different story. Mighty Cloth, you gain bull strength and increase your strength by 2 to a maximum of 20. You can't be pushed, and you have advantage on saving throws against being restrained. Now, for your unarmored builds, this could be incredibly useful. My personal playthrough, I have this on Karlach right now to get her strength up to 20 while she's benefiting from unarmored defense through all the other stuff. Her armor class through unarmored defense and the armor class bonuses from the other things she has is sitting at 19 right now, and she has no armor on. So this adds that additional strength bonus while still maintaining that. So the Mighty Cloth can be incredibly useful for specific builds. Also, you know, just as a fallback carrying option thing, if you're trying to get a whole load of loot back somewhere, you can slap this on one of your casters or something and load them up with a whole bunch of stuff because of the additional +2 that they're going to get to their strength. 1T scale is the thing I was holding off on Astarion about. It adds your full dexterity modifier to your armor class. This is medium armor that does not have a +2 maximum bonus to dexterity. Your full dexterity modifier is added to your armor class. Additionally, you don't impose disadvantage on stealth ability checks, which is the problem with scale mail. It also gains Ambusher, so it gains a +1 bonus to initiative rolls. So this is a straight upgrade for your dex-based characters over scale mail +2. Just a straight upgrade. So this is something that I'm definitely going to purchase for Astarion here. But again, you're paying for it. 1,152 gold for this, so you are definitely starting to pay out for the things that you are upgrading on. So his armor class right now is 17. It's going to go up to 18 because he's got a +3 from dexterity. However, that's going to go up again once I get his dexterity up to 18, and that goes up to once his dexterity goes up to 20, and he starts getting the additional bonuses from that to +4 and +5, then his armor class goes up to 20, and he's just wearing medium armor out of it. So incredibly useful. The cloak protection, straight up bonus to armor class and saving throw with a cloak. Now right now nobody's utilizing a cloak. The only cloak I have is just the Cape of the Red Prince, which is purely aesthetic. So this can go in anybody's cloak slot and give them a straight +1 bonus to armor class and +1 to saving throws. Now I already have 20 armor class on both Shadowheart and Jorval. Gale is at 16 and Astarion is at 18. I can add this on, and Astarion is now at a 19 armor class, and it's just going to keep going up and up and up as his dexterity goes up. So I could also add it on to Gale, give him a little bit more protection, but adding it to Astarion, making him that much harder to hit. Like I say, just one more thing. Last thing here, well, not the last thing, two more things. The Shield of Devotion, you gain a level 1 spell slot. Now I need to talk about this because I would be remiss if I didn't. This is bugged right now. And it's bugged in a way that benefits you through an unintended consequence. And it's bugged for sorcerers. Sorcerers utilize spell slots to gain sorcery points. So you can sacrifice a level 1 spell, level 2 spell, level 3 spell slot to gain sorcery points, which then you can use to buff up your spells, adding extra distance or cast 2 of them at once or a whole bunch of other things. The Shield of Devotion is bugged. So if you wear it, I'm definitely going to pick this up. The Shield of Devotion right now is bugged in that right now,
Take care now.
if you look at me, I'm now up to 3 level 1 spell slots.
See any movement?
Okay, what you can do with this is, and now you can see it disappeared, but that additional spell slot that you get, right now I've got 1 used and 1 unused. That additional spell slot you get when you equip it gives you another unused spell slot. So you can equip this, you can give up that spell slot to cast a level 1 spell to get sorcery points. You can unequip it, you can equip it again, and you come right back with a brand new level 1 spell slot that's unused. You can use that to get more sorcery points. There's somebody on YouTube that in a video had something like 89 sorcery points. So they just kept unequipping it, getting sorcery points, re-equipping it, doing it that same track over and over for like 30 minutes, and got 89 sorcery points. And that's enough to let you power up any spell to stupid levels throughout an entire chapter of the game. So that's right now unintended. That's an unintended consequence of the Shield of Devotion. I'm sure it's going to get patched out, but for now, if you unequip it and re-equip it, you gain another level 1 spell slot that's unused back. Now, I have not tested this with something like Divine Smite, or any of my other level 1 spells. So if I cast a spell and then I unequip it and then bring it and then equip it again, do I get that level 1 spell slot back? I haven't tested it. And I'm not going to before I go into this thing that we're going to do here to end the live stream. But right now it's bugged. Don't build around it, but expect it's going to get patched out. Again, I had to mention it because if I don't, people would probably yell at me for not mentioning it, but it's probably going to get patched out. So the Cinder Snap Gloves gives you access to the Protection from Missiles spell once per short rest, which is nice, but again, situational. If you don't have any other gloves on your caster, it could be something useful to keep you protected from ranged attacks so you can hold your concentration better. And then Gloves of the Balanced Hand. So if you're 2-weapon fighting, so when you make an attack with your offhand, you can add your ability modifier to the damage of the attack. Okay, now, the only people I have right now that are offhand attacking is Astarion. So my ability modifier for my ranged weapons right now is my dexterity, which is +3. So I would be adding a +3 modifier to the damage of my Fire Stoker ranged attack, because right now it does not get that benefit as the offhand weapon. You have to take the 2-weapon fighting feat to get that ability modifier added to it. This allows you to have the 2-weapon fighting feat without having actually spent the feat to take it. Okay? For me, I'm going to take that additional fire damage instead. Constant, always there. Now, there are some really good dyes in here. The black and furnace red dye is always really cool. And actually, you know, I might as well just... You know, what the heck. And then there was the red dyes, always cool as well. And I believe I have a bunch of red dyes already. I do. So she does have some good dyes in here to take a look at if you would like. But that goes through the majority of her items. But again, you're going to be spending a lot to buy these things. And actually, I didn't purchase the incandescent staff. But you're going to be spending a lot of money to get them. So some of these are really good, even if you don't have a build for it, just to keep in your inventory. So in case you do build around them, you can have them. But I'm not going to spend any more money right now. There's something else that we need to do. Okay, now there's a lot of stuff to do here in the Last Light Inn. There's a lot of things to explore, a lot of side stuff to do, and we are going to go do 2 final things here before the end of the stream. And this is something that you need to do right off the bat. And that's to go in here first. And you're going to have a conversation. You're going to overhear something in here. Now, it's best to have...
Don't be shy. Have a gander at the finest stock.
I want to have Will with me. Now, I'm going to skip it. You'll see Will on the Bard playthrough.
We can wait. But Baldur's Gate can't. If you have an alternative in mind, please do propose it.
He still won't speak. Just keeps going with the bloody song.
Nothing of use on his person.
His original writ of duty, signed by Eltan himself. Fella must be one of the very first Flaming Fist.
He must know something. Let's not give up on him yet. I don't suppose you found a way into the towers?
Okay, now before I go into that, I'm going to ask about this.
Isobel cleared this place, and he just appeared. We think he's staying at the inn when the curse fell, which means he's been trapped inside for a century. It beggars belief he's alive at all. Hopefully, he'll come round. Tell us something useful about getting through the shadows. Right now, he seems to have little more to him than a refrain from some song or other.
Okay. So, you remember Councillor Florrick? We rescued her at the... at Joaquin's Rest, and she tasked us with rescuing the Grand Duke. So, Will, if he's in here, will have some additional dialogue with her that you will see next week in the Bard playthrough.
I doubt it too, but I haven't given up hope. Unfortunately, I won't be here when he comes around. I'm heading to Baldur's Gate to seek reinforcements. The Council sent a carrier pigeon with news that the city has been dealing with absolutist attacks. The Steel Watch is holding strong. I'll request that Lord Gortash send some of them to aid in the fight against Moonrise. The curse won't harm them.
You know the name Gortash, a councillor with considerable influence on Baldurian industry and politics. But he is no lord.
The Steel Watch are the future of warfare. Gondian automatons that can be sent into battle without risking any lives. Except those of our enemies. Lord Gortash had only completed work on the prototypes before Ravengard and I left for Elturel, but even they were formidable. With the Steel Watch at our backs, we can storm the tower whatever Ketheric throws at us, I'm sure of it. I'll do my best, but there's every chance I'll fall to the curse or the cult before I reach the city. Don't count on me and assume no aid is coming. Work with Jaheira. That Harper's mind is as sharp as her blade. Follow her guidance. Farewell. We'll meet again, God's willing.
Okay. And that is going to give us information about this.
Flame color. That's your name, isn't it? Art color? I'm Fistula.
Nathaniel and me climbing up a tree.
We need you, sir. One of our own's been taken, a Grand Duke. You might know something that could help us bring him back. We found him out in the shadows, just wandering. Nothing survives out there for long. Don't know how he made it, or where he came from.
This is no physical ailment. It is a spiritual malaise. The man's mind has been gripped by the Shadowfell, yet it has not broken.
No idea, I'm afraid. Whoever it is must be someone important to him. He's been saying the same thing over and over, ever since we found him. You hear me, don't you, sir? You might not be able to answer, but you hear me. A century locked inside a Sharan curse will do things to a man. But you're not alone, sir. We're here with you. And I'm sure you've got relations, maybe some long-lived friends even who want to be seeing you. Oh, if you know how to get through to him, don't hesitate.
Okay, so we have some options here, and none of them are very good for me in particular. Okay, we don't necessarily have to know anything about him.
You notice nothing that might indicate a prognosis.
The reason for this... Oh, we passed.
He spent a long time in the Shadowfell, a Sharan realm without color or light. It's had a terrible effect on him.
He's been in the Shadowfell. All memories will have been stripped away. We need to remind him who he is. Some Personal effects, maybe?
Lost in the shadows all this time. He must have left some part of himself behind. Something we can use.
This was in his pocket. He doesn't seem to have any reaction to it now, but he held on to it for 100 years anyway. If he does, he isn't sane.
And we have one last investigation check. Well, that's fun. Get that out of the way now.
Nothing catches your eye.
Okay, so we got a worn letter here. Okay, so this was an order that was given to him to obtain information about Moonrise Towers, headed by Ketheric Thorm and of the region's ancestral Thorm family. So, take lodging at Last Light, begin investigation in the House of Healing. Reports indicate corruption but no corroboration. The region's Thorm family are long-standing devotees of Selûne, but rumors indicate a Sharan enclave might be gaining momentum. Investigate and report. Signed, Grand Duke Elton. This is from a long time ago. And this goes into a lot of the lore behind the Forgotten Realms and what happened. We can talk about that more later, but now you've got a quest to wake up Art Culla. And that's right here. So we found Art's orders to investigate the House of Healing. We follow in his footsteps. We might learn more about him. Okay. So we picked up some more information through all of this, and we completed both of the travel to Moonrise Towers here. So now what we're going to do, now that we picked up that quest, is you're going to head back to camp. Oh, and Eric, why do I have that above his head? It's because Hex is active. He's concentrating on Hex, and because of that, oh, it's not here? No, I just did it for the additional damage that I'm gaining. But yeah, he's concentrating and has Hex active right now. That's why it's there. So we are going to head to our camp. We are, again, not going to long rest. And we are going to look for Halsin.
The Shadow Curse is upon us. As foul as I remember it. Perhaps even worse. But with the Oak Father's blessing, we may soon see it banished from these lands.
Okay, and there's this additional option here. Remember, Halsin is coming along to try and help out with the Shadow Curse. So now that he's here, he's going to have some additional dialogue options. But this one is here because we talked to the Flaming Fist.
He is? Then I must see him. Insensible or not, he knows something. Thaniel is no ordinary child. He is the very spirit of this land. If this fist knows where he is, then perhaps we can save him. Save everything. I will go to see him at once. Join me when you can.
Okay, so Halsin is actually going to take off. And he's now here inside the Last Light Inn. That is incredibly important. It's going to make the next thing that we're going to do a lot easier.
Don't wander far.
Okay, so while we're here, a couple of things that we're going to pick up.
You're all right. Thank goodness. I was worried they'd got you too. Wait. No one's told you. We were ambushed out in the darkness. By cultists. We surrendered. But that wasn't enough for them. They lined us up like dogs. Asherak was with the kids, telling them it was going to be all right. Maybe that's why they picked him. Told him to kneel. They took his eyes first. Then his tongue. Roland, of all people, saved us. He said he stayed in the grove because of you. And I'm damn glad of it. Without him, well, none of us would be here. Yes. He shielded me and the kids, while his brother and sister rushed the cultists. Cal and Leah were dragged away, along with the others. Roland isn't taking it so well. None of us are, to be honest. How do you do it? How do you keep going? You make it sound so easy. But I'll try. You've done so much for us already. But I have to ask. The others might still be out there. If they're not dead, they're in Moonrise. And gods have mercy on anyone in that hell's pit. Thank you. If anyone can manage it, you can. Just be careful up there, all right? I can't handle anyone else dying.
It's important to realize that Alfira is right there. We obviously met her back in the grove. She's one of the tieflings that needs to be rescued, or that was rescued. If you are going for the achievement on Steam to rescue all the tieflings, she has to survive. And something's going to happen here that can make that incredibly difficult. We'll find out here in a minute. But you do remember Roland.
There's another bottle of Arabellan Dry back there. Put it on the bar, then piss off and leave me alone.
Jaheira said we should serve drinks, but that we shouldn't serve drunks.
Jaheira didn't save your ragged little tail from the cultists. I did. Cute. Maybe she'll write a ballad about me. She can leave out the part where my brother and sister were dragged away screaming while I was saving the orphans. If you hadn't filled their heads with all that self-righteous heroic crap at the Grove, none of this would have happened. Dead for all I know. Or in the cult's tower with the others who were taken. They're my responsibility. You go save the world. Or your own arse. Or whatever it is you do. I'll fix this.
Okay, so he's a little bit upset about things, and that's going to play out here in a little bit. However, that did give us the Rescue the Tieflings curse. Okay, and that we're going to explore a little bit more. So now we're going to get into something, and let's talk to Jaheira. She's next on our quest list. Actually, let's not. Let's go talk to Mattis real quick first.
Check it out. We've gone legitimate, and Mole put me in charge. What do you need?
I'm not supposed to mention it to anyone, but I do have something pretty special in stock. A key. What does it look like? What does it open? What treasures await behind its lock? That's for one lucky buyer to find out. Mole gave it to me and said I shouldn't let it go to just any old jackaday.
Okay, so you can buy it. However, what you're going to get for what's in the stash is not worth what he's going to ask. He's going to ask for 1,000 gold for it. So I'm going to do the persuasion option. Okay, it's a fairly high DC here.
mean, maybe.
Now here, the DC goes way down, which thankfully is good because I lose the favorable beginnings bonus.
But she put me in charge of the shop. I thought... Never mind. Here. You can have it then.
Okay, got the tower-shaped key. You can talk to Mattis again.
Welcome back. Are you... looking for something in particular?
Hey, and you can look through his wares. Now, he has the Cloak of Cunning Broom. So when the wearer disengages, they also create a foggy cloud with 2-meter radius that lasts for 1 turn. So it's not a great bonus. However, can be useful and it's fairly cheap. So I always tend to end up picking it up just in case. And then it has the evasive shoes. Boots that give you a +1 to your armor class. The acrobatics, blah, don't care about. But another piece of clothing that's going to give you a +1 to your armor class. Now, right now, the Disintegrating Nightwalkers are on my Paladin, and they're great for that Misty Step ability. However, I could change that over to these to get +1 armor class, and now his armor class is 21. We're getting up into the you just can't hit me, I'm going to laugh at you type territory. Okay? So things start to get a little better with all of these items that are just straight upping our armor class as we go. And remember, I could take the cloak here and add another armor class to me and have this at 22. So we're starting to get to that point now where you're getting a tank that is incredibly hard to hit. The last thing that we need to do before we have a conversation with Jaheira is talk to Barcus.
Ah, you found your way. Good. I thought I'd scout ahead, check for any nasty surprises, of which I found a great deal. Shades, death, Harpers, flaming fist, and this, of course. And the makings of an alchemist's workbench. Ingredients, too. There's a recipe I'm trying to replicate. Something that might help you. That is, if you're still going to help Wulbren and the others. In that case, you'll be very pleased to learn what I have in store for you. A new type of smoke powder. All the bang and boom of the original, but with an extra surprise. I call it the Brilliant Retort. You'll need it if you're going to survive this cursed place. You'll need it if you're going to get into Moonrise Towers and help the Deep Gnomes taken prisoner there. You'll need it if you're going to save Wulbren. Let's call a thing a thing. A deep gnome won't get far into the Absolute's orgy of evil. We already learned that in the Underdark with those sadistic Dwergar, didn't we? It's doubly true in this place. You, on the other hand, have proven resourceful in such infiltrations. I'll do my part according to my talents. And you, I hope, will do yours. The Brilliant Retort will aid you. Thus, I will make it. Unless you've got access to a 300-year-old Tempusian apothecarial almanac? No. But that's for me to worry about. You do whatever it is you do. Some of us are counting on you. What now?
Okay, you have... It's not going to be ready. You can ask him, but no.
I'm sure
you can trade with him. And this is incredibly important. You have the Gloves of the Automaton. Now, to get these, obviously, Barcus Wroot has to have survived when Act 1, when you found him on the windmill, and again when you found him in the Grimforge. If he doesn't, obviously you're not going to have access to these. Remember a long time ago when we got into a fight and picked up the Light of Creation. Light of Creation has a chance to stun the wielder, meaning myself, unless it is a construct. It does 1d10 plus 1d6 lightning damage. Okay, that total damage puts it above most of the other two-handed weapons that were available. Now, the gloves of the automaton give you circuitry interface. Once per short rest, for 10 turns, you are considered a construct. So that's going to allow you to use the Light of Creation without being stunned. However, even if you're not using the Light of Creation, your weapon attack rolls have advantage and you have resistance to lightning damage. That is all weapon attack rolls, not just weapon attack rolls made with the Light of Creation. So even if I don't have those, for 10 turns, once per short rest, not long rest, but short rest, all of my attack rolls have advantage. These gloves are OP. There's just no other way to put it. The strength saving throws +1 is almost a negligible bonus. When you have these, now instead of having advantage on melee attack rolls when surrounded by 2 or more foes, now I have them once every short rest for 10 turns whenever I use a bonus action to activate circuitry interface. So the bonus also being is that right now the Blood of Lathander does 10 to 15. I can do 6 to 20 damage with Light of Creation without the possibility of being stunned now. So things can get a little bit crazy here. And again, remember what I said I was going to do a little bit ago. Now, where did it go?
There is work to do.
Oh, it's not going to show up again until I close it. So then you also have 2 other things here. So the Acrobat Shoes, advantage on dexterity saving throws checks. That's worded badly. This is advantage on dexterity saving throws. This is not dexterity saving throws and checks. Meaning I'm not going to gain advantage on like the Gloves of Thievery, which are advantage on sleight of hand checks. This is not going to give me advantage on a dexterity-based ability check. This is only on dexterity saving throws, so makes it of limited utility. And then the Ring of Geniality, a +1 to Persuasion, a +1 Perception, just a straight bonus to those 2 things. May as well have it to give you that additional extra bonus just in case you need it. He's also going to have a whole bunch of slaying arrows. Do yourself a favor, stock up on as many arrows of dragon slaying as you possibly can get. Just keep coming back here every time and buying them. Also, there are some other cool dyes in here. And I believe we picked up Black and Furnace Red again. Yeah, so we're going to get more of those because they are kind of cool. White and Scarlet is also really cool. I'll deal with those later.
If you're done rifling through my things.
So now for the last 15 minutes, we're going to get into it. And we're going to send this. Okay. Oh, that's because it's bound.
All right. What now?
Okay. So now, Out of this, I'm doing 12 to 24 damage. One-handed with this weapon. Okay, that's what the that's one more damage than the Everburn blade did two-handed. So the Chargebound Warhammer, if you're going sword and board, is one of the best things that you can possibly have right now. And here, going to change this to the Blood of Lathander. And now we are one last thing. I need to make sure I'm fully topped up here. Everybody's good. I've got my spell slots.
Can't give up
Okay.
now.
We're gonna have a talk with Jaheira.
Please, be welcome. Have a drink. To your very good health.
I've got a medicine check here. Might as well try and make it.
You perceive a faint hint of cloth grass, a herb that is said to elicit the truth. Jaheira smiles at you knowingly.
It doesn't spoil the taste, if that's what you're wondering. A noble proclamation. It must have made you quite thirsty.
It is, Eric. Yeah, I talk about different ways to do the same thing, but without the taste, and then she talks about how it paralyzes you. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Bottoms up. Well over a century old, and yet it hasn't lost a hint of flavor. Still not quite so sure about you, though. People tend to lose more than just flavor when illithids get their hands on them. I speak from experience. There's an air about you. Something alien. Answer me true and do not lie. The parasite is changing you, isn't it? Look around you. Good men, good women. Stranded here, 2 feet in the grave. If we're to survive, I have no choice but to trust you. Can I? Good. Because I'll cross your heart myself if you break it. I have every reason to be cautious. I've traced people like you. People with parasites in their brains. All the way here from Baldur's Gate. The cult of the Absolute is spreading through the city. Quietly, quickly, and with unsettling deliberation. We tracked them to this ancient village, only to be faced with a man we killed and buried over a century ago. Believe me, he was well and truly dead. I locked his corpse in the Thorn Mausoleum myself. He was a Sharan once. Took to building an army of dark justiciars beneath this very village. Alongside the local druids, we made it our business to see him deposed, dead and buried. But he's returned. Not only does General Ketheric Thorn live again, it seems he is no longer mortal. He has become, in fact, invincible. We met him on the road here, commanding an army of the Absolute, intent on destroying Baldur's Gate. I put an arrow through his eye myself, only to watch him pluck it out like a splinter. He healed right in front of me and chased us into the shadows. Things looked hopeless, but experience has taught me that no matter how bleak things look, there's always hope. You are that hope. Protected by your artifact, you can infiltrate his forces at Moonrise Towers, posing as a true soul. Find out what it is that makes him invincible, so we can strip him of his advantage. Once Ketheric is without his shield, the sword. Together, we assault his tower and put a final end to this blight. Without a cure for your infection, your days are numbered too. Yet you selflessly offer to spend them fighting alongside us. I like you. I promise I will do everything I can to make sure you survive this. Any cure starts with understanding the disease. Whatever magic Gatheric's using to control these tadpoles, it must be at moonrise. Until then, we keep drinking wine when we meet. You're not our only secret weapon. Isobel, a faithful cleric of Selûne, and a light in the darkness. She cast the moon shield around the inn. It's the only reason we're still alive. She's upstairs in her chambers. Tell her I sent you, and she'll see you through the shadows safely.
Okay. There's so much here that I wish I had the time to tell you about the lore and the history of behind this. Suffice to say that right now, there are some things that you don't know about who some of these people are and the history behind them that is going to be incredible when you learn about it. Last we need to do, and we need to do this here before we do this, is talk to Raphael.
It's good to see you again. I'd ask if you've made any progress with your little problem, but the telltale twitching of your eye is answer enough. You wound me. I've only tried to be a friend to you, just as to the poor souls here where hope hangs by a single thread. I can mend it, or cut it, depending on what they ask for. They're not the only ones ripe for temptation, you know. My last contract here fed me for decades. Family troubles. Not my family, of course. I never surrender knowledge for free, but one good turn deserves another, does it not? To repay you for the souls sent my way, I offer a taste of the truth. Ketheric Thorm, proud father, man of faith, utter fool. On the night the Harpers sealed him away, someone murdered his entire army in cold blood. Now who would possibly benefit from such a massacre? If you want to know more, I could work the exchange of such precious knowledge into the terms of your future deal. But the time for quibbling over clauses and contracts hasn't quite arrived. You'll be limping back to me soon enough. Not with you, at least. Although I sense there's something your friend wants to ask me.
I do. I have a proposal for you.
A proposal? If you're hoping to taste my blood, little vampling, think again. It burns hotter than wyvern whiskey.
This is serious business, devil. Well, a long time ago, someone carved some runes into my back. I'd rather like to know what they say.
Oh, such impatience. It's something very important to your master. But is it a love letter, a warning, or a deed of ownership? I could give you all the gory details. But of course, you'll have to do something for me first. Let me think about it and get back to you.
You'll get back to me? This is important, devil. When?
Don't worry, I'm motivated to help you. Scars often tell such wonderful stories. I think yours might be truly exquisite. I'll see you soon.
So much is starting to come to light here. And yes, His Majesty is here. We are going to come back and deal with His Majesty here in a little bit. If you have Karlach with you, and Will with you, those conversations with Raphael all have different things. They have recorded so many different lines for your different party members who might be with you. It's kind of crazy. So now we're going to head up here, go into this room, and we're going to run a little long today, and I know you guys won't mind that at all. Remember, Alfira is down here. And before that, going to break the group.
Blades, always sharp.
I'm going to take Shadowheart. I'm going to put her down here. Now, I would prefer not to have Shadowheart be the one to do this.
Direct me.
But I don't think... Yeah, we do not have a scroll of it. And... yeah. I would prefer not to do this with Shadowheart. I would prefer to have somebody else down here. Whoops. Stay up here, Gale.
Seems someone's been skimming our supplies.
But there's a reason
Is anyone keeping an eye on
that
those
I'm going to
children
put
from
Shadowheart down here.
Maybe not, Mum.
And then
Never a dull moment.
for me, I'm going to post up right in the middle. I'm going to put Astarion over here.
You have my attention.
And Gale.
Let's go.
Right out here. Now,
A long way to go still.
with Shadowheart, I'm going to cast Sanctuary on Alfira. And then I'm going to immediately go out the door, talk to Isobel. Now, I don't know, honestly, if that timer's still running or not on Sanctuary. I haven't actually tried it this way before. I've played it 2 or 3 different ways in my personal playthrough, but I'd like to see if this works, so I'm testing it live with y'all. I think the timer's still running. But we'll see. I'm not going to fast forward through
I
this.
didn't realize I had an audience. The true soul who's going to save us all. I'm Isobel. Pleased to meet you. We've been waiting, hoping against hope, for someone like you. Free from the Absolute's influence, yet able to walk among cultists. It's almost too good to be true. But I'd be a poor cleric indeed not to avail of a blessing when I see one. Let me guess. Jaheira sent you to beg a protection spell off her favorite cleric.
I hope so, Eric. That's what I'm hoping. People are moving around out in the hallway, though.
Perfect. It'll make you immune to the lesser effects of the Shadow Curse, which will get you closer to the towers. But there are places it won't help. Places where the curse is darker, stronger. The cultists are able to traverse even the deepest shadows, though. I don't know how. The Harpers are trying to figure it out. Ketherick is a frightening man. But you have something he doesn't. Allies worth having. While you're busy in the towers, I'll be sure to... Wait. Do you hear that? Something's wrong.
Isobel?
Marcus, is that you? What's happened to you?
I've been blessed. You can be too. Come with me, and you can hear all about it from Ketherick himself.
Okay, now this, you're just now meeting Marcus. There's a whole story behind Marcus and how he got here and who he is and that sort of stuff. You learn if you go directly to Moonrise Towers instead of coming here first. If you go to Moonrise and meet him there and then come here, he's the one that will vouch for you at the front gate. Not Mole and not any of the other Harpers. It will be him. You can actually betray him. You can unmask him as a traitor there at the gate and have this fight in a much, much safer way, where you don't endanger anybody else here inside of the inn.
True soul, my instructions are clear. Take the girl to Ketherick alive.
Why does the girl want why does Ketherick want the girl?
What's going on? If you have something to say, say it.
Pathetic. The Absolute sees all. Your treachery will be punished.
The Absolute. Of course. You can't believe them, Marcus. Ketherick will never give you whatever it is you've been promised.
He already has. Time to go, Isobel.
Then that boss music kicks in. Okay. So, yeah, it's gone. Alfira is here. Okay? She is impaled. She cannot move and she's unconscious. That means if either of these winged horrors hit her, she's dead. If you are trying to get that achievement to save the tieflings, this is going to be one of the hardest things that you've ever dealt with. Now, she will not always be here like this. No one on the forums knows why she sometimes ends up here, and sometimes she's just not there at all. She's just gone. She's not even in the building. So no one is entirely sure why this is, but the two that are down here, this one and this one, oh crap, this one's going to go next. Hopefully he will go after Saris. This one normally does. This one, however, is not being highlighted. So I can't see which one he is in the order. But if you don't have anybody standing here, this one will make a beeline for Alfira. One hit will kill her. So that's why I put Shadowheart down here. I was hoping that the Sanctuary spell would still be active. It's not. I don't know if it's timer based or if it just wiped out the spell entirely at the start of combat or sometime during it, but it's not active. So I'm going to have to protect her. The other thing that you have is that Halsin is now here to help in this fight. He can cast Ice Storm, which does a huge amount of damage against an AoE. So he's a huge benefit in this fight as well. The main goal, though, is to protect Isobel. Marcus is going to go right after her with everything that he has, and he's going to get some backup from here and here. There's also one out here. That's why I put somebody here to absorb the attacks from this one. This one is going to come through, but won't have enough range, I don't think, normally to make the attack. This one will come in and hopefully go after me. Okay, so it's all about managing that initial time because everyone's rolled badly. And we're going to get 3 winged horrors here who are going to get to attack before even any of us do. These 3, that one's there. This one is out front, and this one's here. So these 3 right here are very, very dangerous for Isobel. Marcus, if he crits her, when he hits her here, is almost going to one-shot her. So this is where things are going to get serious. So we are going to immediately go in here and so I've got advantage on this, right? So, oh no. I think I've already used, I didn't take a long rest. I don't have that available because his crit is now gone. But we're going to step in here and take melees with him, not with the hand crossbows. So he's threatened, so I should get sneak attack out of this.
No escape.
Okay. So then I do have a melee dread ambusher. Actually, yes. We're going to melee dread ambusher. Okay, and these are just getting rid of his temporary hit points. He's got 40 of them. Now he's going to get a chance. And he's going after her. So 1. Okay, and he missed. That's fine. Okay, that's bad. Okay, so the thing about the winged horrors is that they have a claw attack that can paralyze you if you don't pass the saving throw. He was blinded, and he still hit me. That's the other reason I put her down here, is because the Blood of Lathander blinds undead. He still managed to hit her, and then she failed on the saving throw. He rolled a 16. So that's going to be a problem because she's paralyzed, so now all the attacks against her are crits. So I need to get rid of him. I just don't have a choice here. Now again, Isobel is not green, she's yellow, which means I can't just cast Fireball in there. It's gonna hit her. But I could possibly adjust this thing so that it would hit both of them. Because, yeah, I need to focus on taking them out. Let me check resistances. None. And just poison. So, I think I am going to do this just so I can take them out as quickly as I can. And then get everybody running out of here to go try and help Shadowheart. She'll be able to survive the next turn, but the one after that, I don't know about. And okay, where is he in the order? He's there. I think I'm going to Misty Step Gale. Sorry, my cat jumped up and took that exact moment to jump in front of the TV. It's a little hard to play turn-based. I think I'm going to Misty Step Gale out of here. And get him down here. Where's the other one? It's out front, right? Yes, out front. Yeah, I think I'm going to get him in a position to help out Shadowheart on her next turn.
You'll make excellent fertilizer.
And that opened up AoE damage up there. So that was a good move. She's taking a lot of damage. Okay. So now it's my turn here. So I'm going to activate circuitry interface. Now this is going to do two things. One is going to give me advantage. However, I'm going to become an automaton, which means I cannot be healed by healing magic. You have to keep that in mind. Okay. And now we're going to start going to town on Marcus here. Oh, you're kidding me with the 88%. One hit point left. You're killing me, Smalls. I was actually hoping to kill him straight out on the first turn, and then I could take one of these others out on my second attack. But I missed an 88% chance. Oh, perfect. Halsin's going to go over and help her too. Okay, Astarion. Let's see how I want to play this. Okay, I think we use my offhand attack here. That's only 60% chance. I'm thinking here. Because she's down to half hit points here. So I need to plan this out. I've got to get rid of him. I've got him. Okay, good. So the offhand attack got him. So I'm going to move over here, hopefully take one of these attacks from one of these two, and also hopefully shield her from this one if he gets up. Okay, so he missed attacking Shadowheart, crazily enough. So we are going to Misty Step Gale. I think she's going to have enough help down here. We're going to Misty Step Gale back up here. Wish I could Misty Step him on top of the table.
Yes, of course.
Okay, and now this one who's prone. Actually, how far in this room can I get a fireball from here? Ooh, buddy. Ooh, I can hit all three of them and not hit her. Okay, so killed one outright. These two took some damage. But no one else up here is going to get an attack. She's got 12 hit points left. And both of these are going to get a chance to hit her. This might not work. This might be over. Well, that ends that. And I've actually never had this happen before. So I don't know what's going to happen when she dies. But I said I'm not going to redo my playthroughs. She's dead. This went extraordinarily bad. Everybody at the last light in dies. Jaheira is gone. Dammon gone. Everybody's dead.
Isobel! No! What in the nine hells happened? God spare us. Ketheric was planning our demise all along. Listen closely, for there's very little time. Even if last light falls, your mission does not change. You must find Ketheric Thorm. And you must kill him. As impossible as that task sounds, there must be a way to break the spell that makes him invincible. There are secrets in this ancient waste hidden from...
Here it is. Everybody dies.
Something stirs.
Well, I guess this makes my decision about whether or not what to do with Shadowheart later on easy.
It's happening. They'll all be taken by the shadows. Only by the grace of Isobel's spell will we be spared the same fate. We cannot hesitate. Not even for those we knew. Those we cared for. They're no longer who they were. Still your hearts, and steady your hands. To battle!
Okay. Wow. That's a lot. Oh. Okay. Well. Interesting. So we will we will see how this plays out at the beginning of our next live stream, because this is going to take, if I make it out of this fight, which I seriously doubt is going to happen. Even if I do make it out of this fight, it's going to take me 45 minutes to play it out. And I don't want to, I've already gone 20 minutes long for that particular fight. And I didn't want to. So the lesson learned there probably is, since the Sanctuary spell doesn't work on Alfira anyway, leaving Shadowheart up there in the room with Isobel is probably the better play. One, if she heals her, with the ring that she has, she's going to be given her Blade Ward, which is going to give her resistance to all that slashing damage. 2, she can have access to the Blood of Lathander's Sunbeam spell, which causes massive damage to all of them. And she probably could have gotten into a location just moving around in the room that she could have hit all 3 of those that were standing next to Isobel and still not hit Isobel. 2, she could have cast Sanctuary over and over again so that she could absorb all the damage, and then when she attacks, only the people who went after her would have a shot at her, and in that case, nobody in there would have had a shot at her, because all 3 of those horrors were going before her in the initiative order. So there are some lessons learned there for how to play that encounter. I'm extraordinarily interested to see how this goes. There's Shadowheart, there's me. Everybody else is red. Remember, Shadowheart is still paralyzed for 1 more turn. And she's standing out here. I don't know where Halsin went. So, no idea what's happening here. And we'll see how that goes. Yeah, and that's another great example, Lord Henry, is Feign Death. All of these things you get to learn from my mistakes here, which is, again, another part of this. So, with that, we are going to end this live stream in a completely unexpected way, but an interesting way, I will say. I guess this made the decision for me, and now I know how Shadowheart's going to play out. So this ought to be interesting. So, again, I'd like to thank everyone for being here today. Without your support, none of this would be possible. This is Commander Jorval saying, until next time, fare thee well.